Shalom, brothers and sisters who are scattered in all corners of the earth. Sanbonani, my name is Mpumelelo. Welcome to this channel. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the subscribers of this channel. I would like to thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your love and thank you for your support. If you have not subscribed, please consider to do so. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, and share it with your friends and family. So what are we talking about today? Today I would like to make a quick review of the videos that I published last week. And then I want us to look at how we can study the Tanakh with understanding. Or perhaps what is it that causes us to have conflicted ideas when we study the Tanakh? Or what are the things that prevents us from understanding? Proverbs 1 verse 17. I beg your pardon. Proverbs 1 verse 7 says, "The fear of the Almighty is the beginning of knowledge." And then it goes on to say that fools despise wisdom and instruction. We need to keep this in mind because we need to understand what is meant by the fear of the Almighty. When you fear the Almighty, you become critical of things that you do because you don't want to be on his side or on his wrong side. You don't want to be on the wrong. Perhaps I should better put it that way. You don't want to be on the wrong. You want to walk on the straight path. You fear him not because you are afraid of his existence. I mean, he's your creator. He's our creator. But you fear not to do anything that is wrong because we've gone through too much in our lives. So for a change, now that we are awakened, let us do what is right. The fear of the Almighty is the beginning of understanding. It's the beginning of wisdom. So says King Solomon, who was inspired by the Almighty, and he was talented. He was blessed with wisdom. The reason why I start with this proverb is that over a period of time, we have lost contact with what is wrong and right. We have been taught by many people. And we've in the process of time, that which was feared by our forefathers, we no longer fear it. When our forefathers revered the Almighty, and they would rather die than, to be persuaded by others to believe in things that they were not taught. They would rather be slaves than to be converted into anything else. But we don't know any better. We don't know what has happened in our history. And so over a period of time, the same people that colonized us, the same people that enslaved us, were the same people that taught us Christianity. And Christianity clashes with the Tanakh. When you have studied Christianity, in particular the New Testament, fear of the Almighty departs from you. You become bold, you become proud, you exalt yourself, and you want to hold on to what you believe in. And therefore, you become in conflict with the Almighty. we need to ask ourselves questions. For a long time, we have been in captivity. But our captivity is prolonged because of our iniquities, because of our idolatry, because of our rebelliousness. Our rebelliousness sometimes comes out of ignorance. We think that what we know is true, but we have been deceived all along. To those who were not aware that the New Testament takes verses and places them just about anywhere in the New Testament. They take verses in the Tanakh and place them in the New Testament and say it is the revelation, it is the fulfillment of the Tanakh. I've demonstrated with one verse. Isaiah 7 verse 14. They took it, they changed some names. Where it says a young woman, they put a virgin. Where it says in the Tanakh, it says the virgin shall name the child Emmanuel. In the New Testament, it says they shall call him Emmanuel. These are significant changes because you begin to think that Yeshua was given birth by a virgin, which is not true. Mary was not a virgin. She was a young woman. Whether she had had sex before, we don't know. But if it says she was a young woman, if it says she was a virgin, then we believe that she was pure. She have not had contact with a man. We don't know. She was a young woman. In Hebrew, a young woman is called Alma, and a virgin is Betula. And in the Tanakh, they're talking about Alma, a young woman who will give birth. And she, not they, she shall call the child Emmanuel, which gives an assurance to the king that the two kingdoms that are about to attack him shall not prevail. It's a sign from the Almighty. That prophecy was fulfilled. It had nothing to do with the birth of Yeshua. So somebody will say, what about the other prophecy which is found in Isaiah, which says, for unto us a child is born, for unto us a child is given. That prophecy too has got nothing to do with Yeshua. Incidentally, it's not found in the New Testament, but it is quoted quite often by Christians. That prophecy is talking about the next king after Ahaz. When Ahaz died, his son took over, and his son was known as Hezekiah. Of all the kings of Judea, Hezekiah was a righteous man. That's why this prophecy, for unto us a child is born, is different from other kings. He will bring peace in the land of Judea, of Israel. Cut and paste. The stories are not the same. But let us look at how we should approach the Tanakh. We will never succeed. We will always be circling around. If we approach the Tanakh with preconceived ideas that have been hammered on us for generations. If we believe in the New Testament, there is no way, I guarantee you, we can understand the Tanakh. Because when we read the Tanakh, we already read with imposed ideas. We are trying to find Yeshua where he doesn't exist. Because the New Testament says he exists, we find confirmation. No matter how much you pray for revelation, If you already have an idea in your head, whatever the spirit you are calling upon, it will reveal what is already in your head. But if you come before the Almighty and humble yourself like a child approaching their parents and asking questions, you will find answers. They are laying there bare. You will find answers. They are not hidden. You don't need to go anywhere to find revelation. It's already there. There is nothing that is spoken about that is revealed in the New Testament. There's a lot of confusion in the New Testament. They have changed the understanding of certain words. For instance, the word Messiah has been corrupted. So if you have in your mind an idea that a Messiah is someone who comes to save people, you are misled. In the Tanakh, the one who will come and gather all of us and restore us to the promised land is not called Messiah. The word Messiah is used many times in the Tanakh, but it doesn't refer to the one who will come in the end. He will be the Messiah, but he is not being referred to as the Messiah. There are many Messiahs in the Tanakh. Many. At a given point, there would be 4 to 5 Messiahs in one period. You would have 2 or 3 high priests who are Messiahs. You will have a king who is a Messiah. You will have 1 or 2 prophets who are Messiahs. So when you talk about a Messiah to someone who studies the Tanakh, because Messiah means anointed, Mashiach. When Mashiach does not have a special word that the Christians have given, it does not mean someone who's going to die for people for their sins. It simply means the one anointed by the Almighty to do certain things. King Darius was a Messiah. He was anointed, but he was not among the children of Israel. King Nebuchadnezzar was a servant because the Almighty calls him my servant. And he was appointed, anointed to do certain work for the Almighty. The New Testament will confuse you. And when you come with that understanding of the New Testament and you impose that understanding on the on the Tanakh, you will always go wrong. You will always get it wrong. I demonstrated last week just by 2 Gospels who are talking about the announcement of Yeshua. Both of them are talking about different things. Not only are they parallel, not only are they clashing, but they are so different that they don't make sense. They could not have been inspired by the Almighty. Otherwise, we must admit that the Almighty is a liar. He contradicts himself, and that's the kind of thing we can't say. Because we fear him. Because Proverbs 1, King Solomon in Proverbs 1 tells us, Proverbs 1:7, he tells us, the fear of the Almighty is the beginning of wisdom, the beginning of understanding. When you have that understanding, you know that the Almighty cannot contradict himself. He cannot speak things that are clashing the way things are clashing in the New Testament. What I did not mention, for instance, is that Mark was the first person to write the Gospels, or his Gospel. Okay, he's put as the second in line in terms of the chronology. He's the second Gospel. But he was the first in terms of the dates. He was the first to write. He writes nothing about the birth of Yeshua. He knows nothing about it. What is worse is that his family, in Mark 3, verse 20 to 21, his family is confused. They think he's lost his mind. They want to call him. They want to say, get out of that situation. You're embarrassing us. You've lost. They think he's mad. How can they think that way if Mary was visited by an angel and Mary was told by an angel? Because this is what we read in Matthew and Luke. How can he not know? Now you can see that there's no inspiration from the Almighty. These men got these stories wherever they got them. And I also indicated that the contemporaries of Yeshua did not write. Those who wrote their writings were discarded. And they were not writing gospels. The headings of their writings is exactly what they say. They say these are the sayings of Yeshua. The sayings of Yeshua. It's the same as writing about the sayings of Buddha. And if you read anything that Yeshua spoke, although he did not contradict the Tanakh, we must give him that credit. But many things that he spoke were neither in the Tanakh or anywhere. They were philosophy. His philosophy about how he saw life, how he interpreted life. We cannot understand the Tanakh if we come with these burdens. We will not be given permission to know, because our Creator is the one who holds the keys. If we allow him in our hearts, he is willing to give us knowledge. But if we impose our ideas on him, we cannot treat him that way. He's the Almighty after all. So we cannot impose the ideas that we got from the New Testament and want to confirm his word through the words that were written by men who were contradicting each other. We can do better than this. We can do it better than this. We can read and understand the Tanakh if we leave out all our idols behind, if we leave our pride behind, because now, over a period of time, we've become masters of this New Testament. We know it through and through. We can quote any chapter, and if we leave it out, what are we left with? That's the pride that is left with us. We've been teaching people this New Testament, but we have to come to a point where we acknowledge that firstly, it is not the word of the Almighty. It's not inspired. It's not divine. It's men who were copying from each other. And the New Testament spread throughout the world because it was forced on people. The doctrine of discovery, which was a papal bull, an enactment by Pope, I think it was Pope Benedict, who gave permission to colonialists to go and colonize and Christianize people who were not Christians by force. He gave them permission to take land, even if there were people in that land. And those who resist were given permission to be killed. How can we be Christians? How can we betray our fathers and mothers who resisted this Christianity? After the destruction of the temple and after Christianity was canonized, was institutionalized, not canonized. After it was institutionalized, a decree was issued. Those who oppose Christianity must either convert. If they don't convert, they must be anathemized. It means they must be excommunicated. But that message did not come out that way. People were not really excommunicated. People were killed for refusing to accept Christianity. Those who were in exile in Portugal and Spain, those who wanted to remain there, they needed to convert to Christianity. If they didn't convert to Christianity, they were enslaved. Their children were separated from them. and their children were raised as Christians. How can we be Christians? How can we read the New Testament when it's not inspired by the Almighty? We are the children of Israel. We're from the house of Jacob. We are the chosen people of the Almighty. This New Testament is not for us. Let us reconsider our ways. Let us review everything that we have been doing. Let us approach the Almighty with the purest of hearts. In that way, we will understand what the Almighty is saying. He cannot contradict himself. He is not man that he may contradict himself. He is a high being. He is our creator. He is the king of the universe. He cannot say one thing and contradict himself. The New Testament itself contradicts itself. The writers contradict itself. So, I thought I would take a different approach. If you have a different opinion, tell me. I think that instead of looking at the New Testament, let us look at the Tanakh and see anything that is quoted there, whether there's any relationship. Because many of us still believe that the New Testament is inspired. A lot of people last week, they unsubscribed. Over 10 people unsubscribed because they are afraid that they are listening to a demon. They are afraid that if they continue listening to this demon, they will go to hell. I have a lot of respect for some of you who don't agree with what I'm saying, but they come back every week. They challenge what I'm saying. They even suggest that let us have a discussion which is longer than 30 minutes. 1 hour, 15 minutes perhaps. Let us talk about this thing. I have respect for those. But some are saying to me straight up, no, brother, you're leading us to hell. And they unsubscribe immediately. I don't mind. I think this, for me, is not for numbers. If one person is persuaded to follow the ways of the Almighty, I've done my job. If one person subscribes and listen and go and do what is right, I've done my work. I don't need praise. I don't need anything. I need to satisfy the Almighty. That's all that I'm pursuing, to do what is right in His face. And if I'm wrong, I have brothers and sisters surrounding me, and they tell me when I'm wrong. And they keep coming. And they keep coming. Those are the ones who keep me going. Because even if they disagree with me, not all the time, sometimes we agree, but that's the whole idea. Let's not agree. Let's not have the yes men and yes women. Where I'm wrong, they say it, and they come back, and I'm inspired. Because I'm not always right. It is for this reason that the Almighty put you around me, so that when I go wrong, they're able to say, you're off track, and I like it. And when I challenge what you are saying, it's not because I'm stubborn, it's because I also have beliefs. But when I think that you are correct, you are right, after having looked at whatever is written in the Tanakh, I come back and say, I was wrong. I agree with you. Or sometimes I will say it on this platform and say, I was wrong about this and I've changed my mind. Tell me what you think. Thank you very much for your attention. Until next time, ngiyabonga. Asante sana.